Today we're going to talk about developing organizing systems that even your kids can follow, which we all need. If you have kids, we all need it.
Welcome to the Artsy Fartsy Experience with your host, Elizabeth, the creative, hardworking mom of 4 and a former public school art teacher. In this podcast, we dive into the colorful world of decluttering, home organization, and balancing the bustling life of raising 4 children. Each episode, Elizabeth shares her insider tips on transforming chaos into order. So grab your paintbrush, or maybe just a cup of coffee, and let's get artastic.
To start with, we're going to talk about things that are appropriate for different ages. Because I have definitely developed different expectations over the years with my children. Being a mom of 1 2-year-old is much different than being a mom of a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. It's just different. So when I mommed child number 1 and she was 2, it was way easier for me to focus on that she needed to pick up her toys herself. That was the thing. And then I've also done, where now that's someone's job is to pick up the 2-year-old's toys, somebody else's job to help him out, because developmentally, he's not quite there, and I don't have the time to sit there and do it with him like I would have with child number 1. So age appropriateness, there's a range. There's a range in children's abilities. I mean, we have children with special needs. You might have children with physical limitations. So for me to say that there's one blanket thing for every child is not fair to all of the parents out there. It's just not. So I will give you ideas, and then you take it for what you will, and I hope that it helps you, and then you can work with that in your own home. So for example, our second youngest, who is now 5, but she did this while she was 4, her number one job is to feed and water the dog. And for her, that can be a challenge. It really is literally physically challenging because she can't reach the sink on her own. So we have a step stool, or there was times, a phase where I would fill the water and put it on the counter for her, and then she would take it and put it in front of the dog's area. And now she can totally do it on her own with the step stool. But it changes, it morphs with the child and with their age. She does brush the dog. And that sounds like a simple task, but it depends on your dog. The dog's mellowed out more as time has gone on, and she's gotten used to her brushing her instead of me. But it was really challenging at first because the dog didn't want to stay still. So although it sounds like a really simple task, it can be challenging for that child at their age, at their stage. And the chore that has passed down the lineage of my children the longest, because that was child number 1's job, and then it became child number 2's job, and now we're on child number 3, and now child number 4, he is just about getting old enough to kind of like get the idea of I put the scooper into the dog bowl, which, as a matter of fact, child number 4 helped me feed the cat this morning, which was super cute and fun. Now, he didn't understand to scoop and fill the whole cup himself, so I scooped it and filled it, and then he dumped it into the cat's dish. But that's creating a habit. That's creating success for that 2-year-old, that now he's gonna go, I can feed it, I can do this. And eventually he will be able to 100% do it on his own, because he'll understand to scoop it all the way and what that looks like, and that he has to dig into cat food bag to get the cat food. Not gonna have him open up a can of wet cat food anytime soon, but he can do his part, and that makes them feel really good about themselves. And it's also giving them those life skills that they have to have for being a successful person in society, and a successful adult. So that being said, child number 1 has also done the dishes, and she has passed that job on to child number 2. Now he does the dishes, and that's just loading and unloading the dishwasher for us. Now child number 1 has graduated. We added in her hand washing dishes this year, which isn't something I've ever asked my kids to do. And we have, those pesky dishes. It's like almost like the dry cleaning of dishes that you just, do you really want to buy those kind of things that have to be hand washed? Well, inevitably they come into our lives. However, I don't even know, like the stainless steel water cups things, the bottles for school, or a Starbucks cup, things like that like were given to us. And that's cool. I mean, I actually really like the stainless steel. It's awesome. It's super eco-friendly. Great. It's gonna last forever. But it has to be hand washed to keep its longevity. So then it sits there on the counter and it needs to get done. And as any declutterer person knows, or any cleaning person that has to clean their house knows, that the dishes are like the bane of your existence. They sit there on the counter, they look nasty. So having our little people help with that task is huge. It really takes a big burden off of us. Do they do it perfectly? No. Do I have to watch them and make sure it gets done, or remind them? Yes. Do I have to remind them till I go red in the face? No. Because we've worked on our systems that we have on our house, which would be a whole nother episode on when they do different chores and how it gets done and making sure it gets done. So let's see, what else do people do? My husband, he was all about the kids starting to bring down their own hampers and to sort their own laundry. And because it used to be him, because they're huge. I don't know why people make hampers this big. They were given to us, these hampers, and if I buy hampers in the future, I'm buying much smaller ones, and they can just bring it down more often. But they couldn't, half the time they couldn't bring it down themselves, so he did it, and then he would sort it, and he was annoyed. But I thought that was kind of fair, because I wash the laundry, and we share folding in the most part, not always. And then he actually puts away the laundry, which makes me really happy. In society, in general, we live in a fairly affluent area, and I would say, in all honesty, we're on the lower end of that affluent area, the lower end of the income spectrum. I mean, there's people that are like living large, or at least look like they're living large. Who knows what kind of debt they have. But there's a big difference between how people in our community are raising their kids. So my child complains to me, my oldest, that she's in 5th grade, and that out of her 5th grade class, she's one of 4 kids that do chores at home. And then the rest of the kids allegedly don't do any chores. I'm not at their house. I don't know if this is true. And if this could just be, I don't know, her complaining, for all I know. I have no idea. But I don't think it's wrong to have our children do chores, because I don't call them chores anymore. I don't think that they are chores. We call them family contributions, because they are part of this 6-person family. And I also don't think it's terribly fair that one person would have to be responsible to clean and maintain everyone else's life. Because let me tell you, I have a hard time managing myself and a baby, and then have to manage these 4 other people. And that's just too much. So they have to actually contribute to the household and participate in the maintenance of our house and their own lives. They have to take some responsibility for reminding us of their schedules, or I have gotten down to the point where we have one dish and bowl and cup for each kid. Well, actually, I have more cups, which is a whole other thing that needs to get cleaned out. But there is one official cup for each kid. And if they don't have a plate for dinner and I'm serving dinner, I go, hey, I don't see your plate here. If you would like dinner tonight, I need you to get your plate. Maybe it's in the dishwasher, and you need to hand wash it, and then I can put dinner on it. And I don't think that that's wrong. I think that's fair. And I'm sure there's people out there that would say the contrary. And isn't that just kind of the way society is now? It's like super polarizing that one end goes, let them be kids, and woo, and that's not their problem, and that's awesome, and maybe you actually have a housekeeper, that's super. But I know for my mental wellness, like, I can't humanly do it all by myself and be mentally okay. There's a lot on our plate of we're chauffeur, I'm nurse, I'm psychologist, I am tutor, I am chef and house cleaner and all the things. And by goodness, I can't do 10 jobs in one human body with the 24 hours a day and still get sleep and all the things that I need to not wither away and die. So that being said, we try to find ways that we can make cleaning fun. Their participation in the cleaning of our house is a requirement because they're a member of this house. So I don't do allowance for that. Now, in the future, I am happy to give kids allowance. I am happy to give bonuses for doing extra things beyond the expectation. But to be a human being, there is some level of expectation of that you have to take care of yourself. If you don't brush your teeth, they're going to get rotten and fall out. If you don't wash your body and put on a deodorant, you might smell. There are consequences for our choices and our actions. So if they want to have dessert tonight, then they're going to do their family contribution. That's the number. There's two main things that they're working for. There's certain family contributions that I expect to be done before they get to do their computer homework. And then when they get their computer homework done, then they get to do some free time. And I am one of those, like, don't let them off into the internet type people. They're on the Chromebooks that have restrictions, and I get to approve what website and all that stuff. So don't think that they're just going off into the internet and, whatever, looking at questionable things. But they're allowed to have free time and do learning apps and stuff after they've done their required homework, which schools requiring homework on the computer is a whole nother thing, but not the discussion for today. But anyway, so they do those activities because they're required, and their reward is that computer time, or their reward is to have dessert. The expectation is that, okay, you have your homework done, we're getting ready for dinner. Did you do these other things? Because if you want the dessert, those other contributions have to happen. So it's kind of like a two-tiered. These contributions equals computer, and then the rest of these contributions equals the dessert. And fun free time, whatever. But then during their contributions, there are different ways that we give incentives. So like it's after school. So, hey, you get to have snack after you feed the dog. Because if you want food, don't you think the dog wants food too? Yeah, that's only fair, right? She's a living creature and can't go scoop the food for herself. So you can have your snack after she gets her food. Oh yeah, yum yum, you get a cookie today for snack. That's an incentive. You can give food incentives. You do stars and you get a prize incentive. But we try to make it, as pleasant as possible, but without doing it for them. I'm not going to do it for them. So, hey, how can I support you to get this job done? Would you like to listen to music on the Alexa? Would you like me to dry the dishes with you? Would you like me to, I'll put them in the cabinet today for you and keep you company. Things like that, but that I'm not doing it all for them. I am assisting and making their ability to succeed easier. A lot of time it's just they get lonely, which kids today are just in general in society are very lonely. They want our time more than anything else. And so if I just body double with them, I'm just there, that can help. Like when we were little, when the kids were little, I used to help them to get it done by making it go fast. Like, oh, how fast can you go? Or, can we throw this toy into the tubby that it goes in? And, we play and take shots and 2 points and all this stuff. One of the things that I like for kids storage are the cube shelves or the IKEA storage that has the tubs that go in and out, things that don't have tops. They could just throw it in, and we kind of organize by a category. Like my son has, now it's 2. He's got 2 dinosaur bins, and then he's got a train bin, and then everybody has a little tub in their room that we call the everything else box, because inevitably they have some weird stuff that doesn't fit into any of their categories. It's not a truck, it's not a this, it's just this one tchotchke, but I love it so much I made it in craft class, whatever it was, I don't know. And so we call that the everything else box. So the things that we don't know where to go with homes, that goes in the everything else box. It could be a bookmark, it could be a mini squishy mellow guy or whatever, just that goes in the everything else box. But then we keep these big categories, and mainly when they ask for gifts and stuff, we kind of try to keep it in those categories. The toy box also, that kind of keeps larger odd shaped things. So if it doesn't fit into those categories too, that's okay, because it kind of goes in the toy box. And sometimes I'll even have crates or bins inside the toy box to help keep the toy box from being crazy. So in the toy box is a box of Hot Wheel cars, and there's a box of I think it was Paw Patrol, and that was the Paw Patrol box. And it kind of, everything, he knew where to find them, and everything had a home, and that gave him a goal. Okay, get that in this, get it put away. Also, kids' games, they're board games, we keep in a storage ottoman. So I have a really large, square-shaped ottoman / coffee table, and I put a tray on top, so if they have drinks, they can put it on the tray, and that keeps it nice and level, but otherwise it's cushion. But inside there's 4 cubicles, and 2 of those are for board games. the third one is for, well, it used to be like a STEM set, and then it was one of those tracks, that you can put together, and it's movable, and it has the little cars that are electric cars that run around it. Now it's a marble building set thing, and so it's evolved over time, and things that they no longer wanted, or they didn't really play, or they broke, and the cars lost their wheels or whatever, and then it evolved to a new thing, and that's home. And I don't have to see it, and it's awesome, because I looked at the box, and I said to my son, there's 350, I don't remember, 51 pieces or something like that. There's 351 pieces, toy makers. Like, that was a feature of positivity. And when I saw that, he got it as a gift for a birthday, and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, there's going to be 351 pieces of crap on my floor. Ew. I almost didn't want to let him keep it, but then we found this solution of where it can go, and we compromised to get rid of the broken stuff, which was awesome. It needed to go anyway, and then that's where it lives. But and then that he maintains it, and that's awesome. He makes sure it's in there, and they started to take it out and play with it the other day, and I was like, hey, we gotta go. They all throw it into the tub, or the empty space in the ottoman, and put the cushion back on, and we're out the door. So that being said, the last thing is getting kids involved in the decluttering decisions. So I said, okay, if we want to keep this, where does it go? What do we do? And then I gave that suggestion, and he actually said, yeah, I don't use that thing anymore. So it became his choice to keep this item and get rid of the other one to make space for this new item. I talked about in my last video of giving the kids cardboard boxes and letting them just say, okay, hey, fill this up with some stuff. So they decide what toys they want to get rid of that they don't think that they need anymore. And sometimes it really is just trash, just junk, which is okay, as long as it was stuff that it needed to go anyway, right? And sometimes it's clothes, a couple clothes item, but they're making those choices, and when they do that, they're building this declutter muscle. They're building a stamina to let things go. And I foresee them having a much easier time as adults letting things go than I did when I was a kid. I feel like our era was the era of collectors. Like, we were, given these Barbies that had to stay in boxes, and we weren't allowed to play with them. They sat on a shelf, and if we opened them, how dare we? Because now it's not worth, as much as it would have been if it was mint. Beanie Babies and things like my mom was a collector of Hummels and I don't even know, like antique dishes and things like that. And so the value of things was super ingrained in my mind, and I'm trying to not do that to my kids as much as it was for me. And I find myself having to stop myself from influencing them. Like, are you sure you want to get rid of that thing? And just accepting when they know that they're ready to get rid of something, of letting it go, letting it pass through that liquid transaction of, it was here, it brought joy, and now it does not, and it needs to just flow from our house, and maybe it brings somebody else joy, or maybe it goes in the trash because it really is a piece of garbage now. Whatever, it's been used up or trashed or broken or whatever. I honestly don't know if any of this helps you at all. I really hope it does. Anyway, thank you so much for staying till the end. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's get artastic.